What's up?
Nothing, just sleepy.
I hear you. I hear you. Uh, it's gonna be a potentially interesting day today. We've actually got regular news out to discuss. As I try to break my fingers on this microphone thing. We'll have to figure out where you want to start: Star Wars, Marvel, or DC. But let's get into it. Welcome everybody to the Daily Cup of Genre here on the Genreverse YouTube channel and Genreverse Podcast Network, available wherever you get your podcast from, such as Google, Apple, Spotify, and more. Please do hit that red subscribe button on YouTube if you're watching us there. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. Join our Discord. There's a link in the description box down below. Lots of great content. We have anime stuff, Star Wars stuff, Marvel stuff, general geek and pop culture entertainment stuff, reactions, and more, all available for you guys for free. Check it out. Well, I mean, it costs time, but what else do you have right now? Everything's so damn expensive. The only thing you've got is time. I'm Kyle. That's Manny, and if you're new here, thanks for checking us out. If you're an old friend of the channels, old friend of the shows, why? We're awful people, hot takes, bad opinions. I mean, just why? No, seriously, thank you all. So Manny, straight up, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Star Wars, Marvel, or DC?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and start with DC, because I actually think it's an interesting story. Ezra Miller, who, again, guys, we will try to remember to use they, them. However, you'll hopefully forgive us if we slip out with a he.
Deal with it.
Now and then. Ezra Miller's copped a plea bargain, man. They're gonna avoid jail. They're having a few charges dropped. I'm reading from Deadline right now. Under count 3 of trespassing, Miller would be forced to pay a penalty of $692. Vermont's criminal code says that they can't be imprisoned for that charge for more than 3 months or fined for more than $500 or both. Miller's base fine comes with a $192 surcharge. So there's your $692 for a few bottles of alcohol. Other things dealing with some of the assaults and fights in other places are all different. There's also the allegations of grooming and inappropriate relationships with a minor, potentially providing drugs such as pot and LSD to someone who's now 18 years old. That alleged victim, of course, has said that they aren't victims, but again, I'll remind everyone that there are people that are very obviously victims of things that will swear up and down that they are not. You have things like gaslighting and emotional and mental abuse and things like that play into it. Again, these are all still alleged because there's no court case for that. But man, the road's clear for Ezra Miller to stay on as the Flash with that. Do you think this plea bargain helps them retain a spot in the DC EU, Manny?
I don't really think it has anything to do with it. I just think he wants to figure out a way to put this behind him. He's been he's trying to get his life back, really, because regardless of what we think, we don't really know what's going on in his head. Actually, we don't even know if any of this is actually true. It's all alleged until you are.
Well, I mean, the plea bargain is true.
The plea bargain. I mean, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
any of the things that happen.
Yeah.
But what's the fastest way to get rid of it? Just plea bargain. That's the fastest way to just move on. And for somebody who has moolah and connections and things like that, again, what I mean by connections is good lawyers and such, just get it done. It's like, okay, what's gonna happen? Well, the worst thing that's gonna happen, you're gonna have to pay like $700. Like, all right, well, let's just do that then.
Yeah, I can pay that. I could do that.
Yeah, it's good for him. because
Them.
they
Yeah, I know.
they can it just sounds grammatically weird all the time. That's the
It
problem.
does. It is
Uh,
odd.
it's nothing. It's not that I want to use it. It's just that naturally I was raised,
Yes.
I was raised in school to say things a certain way. Um, it's good for Ezra just to be able to get this cloud off, away from his head. That's what I think. And whether or not, and of course, yes, it does play a little bit of a role, because you don't want to go into press days with this kind of cloud over your head. Although I don't know how much press he's gonna be doing. um it's just nice to move on, and I'm happy for him because, like I said, regardless of the accusations, we don't know exactly what was going on, or any issues that Ezra may have had. So we are it's just good. It's just a good thing, I guess. Instead of more things that instead of more negative news, it's good to hear some positive things going on.
If they weren't famous, and would they be getting the same potential plea bargain? Who knows? And that's always one of those things. I've seen in my local news, and I know you work in local news, and there's times where other people will get away with things, and you're just like, oh my God, how did you not, get punished more or whatnot? It's more common, it seems, of course. I wouldn't even say seems. I guarantee the statistics probably back it up, but I don't have those numbers, so I'm not just going to say without a doubt. But it definitely appears, especially because it's reported on more celebrity criminal cases and things like that, that they, of course, money plays an issue, and it does play an issue.
Not
How
always.
much? Not always. That's what I said. Even in local news, you'll see it every now and then. It's just the justice system doing what it should, taking things case by case.
Yeah.
And in Miller's situation, they potentially have other cases going on. I don't know if that really played into the prosecutor's decisions here, but it doesn't matter. The point being, and how I personally see things, whatever comes out of the court, whether it's a plea down, dropped charges, whether it's guilty, completely innocent, doesn't matter. Once it's decided by the courts, that's what it is. So I won't legally, I might have my own opinion on it, but if someone is acquitted of murder, then they're not murderers. I might think that they still did it, but I'll stand by what a court of law, potentially including a jury of one's peers, came out and said you are innocent or you are guilty. And it's one of those things that we kind of at the very minimum on the surface public level have to accept. Miller apologized. Miller has sorted out some of these criminal things. If they pay their fine and whatever other restitution or do whatever other punishments are, handed out, then they've paid their dues and they have the equal opportunity to carry forward. It's always, of course, up to private companies like Warner Brothers whether or not they want to continue to employ Miller. That's one of those weird ones. Like if you've got to do the whole Mr. Mrs. type, Mr. Miss type thing, what goes there? But if they want to and continue to employ Miller or not, that's on them, and they should they should in no means be expected to, nor punished if they decide not to. Miller's going to be an interesting thing when they start promoting this Flash movie. I think that'll kind of tell us how much they are interested in keeping them, because if they parade them around and let them promote the movie fully, we might be looking at the continuation of the Flash, Miller as the Flash. If they still keep them in the wings and barely have them out there, I think it might it might be a sign that they're really waiting to see on reaction to the movie from general audiences versus just their internal screenings and test screenings. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, that's basically what I said.
We'll see. I'm still more interested in what else James Gunn and team have in store for the DCEU. I'm really curious as to the 10-year plan and whatnot.
Well, I don't even think it's DCEU anymore. I think it's just DC
or DCU.
Films.
Sorry, DCU.
It's just DC Films.
No, the universe. The universe itself is DCU. Yes, that's official. That's been official. That's James Gunn official.
Okay.
Yeah. Not the EU part, DCU. That's what their project is now, like MCU, DCU. Anyways, you ready to go to a galaxy far, far away?
Oh yeah.
I got some complaining to do, man.
Oh, okay.
This comes from the other day. We had the Emmys. If you guys haven't seen the list,
not the Emmys.
Not Emmys, Golden Globes. Thank you. Manny put together a list of all the winners and stuff like that at lrmonline.com. But there was another award ceremony, one that's not usually televised or anything like that, but the Directors Guild awards came out, and a Star Wars show got a director's award, Manny. Now, out of all the Star Wars stuff that we had in 2021, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Andor, which one do you think would have deserved a director's award?
Oh, probably Andor. 100%.
Probably Andor. You wouldn't have thought Deborah Chow for Obi-Wan Kenobi at all, would you have?
No.
Oh, you would be so wrong, because Deborah Chow got the DGA award for Best Director, movies, television, limited series. Oh my God, guys! Like, the direction was one of the worst parts of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Everything from picking angles and shots. You don't even have to get into editing. The writing was atrocious, of course, but even the execution of the script was awful. Choices made awful. Lenses made everything about that show ended up being a waste of time and effort to get to a duel that we already knew how it would freaking end. Like, we already knew how it would end. We already knew the results of Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's that Titanic paradox, that prequel paradox. But guess what? If you at least execute it well, it can be okay. Like Andor, we know where Andor is ending up, but they haven't messed with canon. They haven't messed anything up. They didn't produce a subpar looking and feeling show. She did. And how did they win?
Real quick, it doesn't look like she's actually won anything yet. According to...
Oh, it's a nomination.
Yeah, it's a nomination. They haven't won anything.
Okay, well, still trash.
Yeah, I mean, if she had won,
not Andor. Andor should have been. Andor should have been nominated. No, I'll complain on that one. I'm sorry for not realizing the word nomination, but Andor should have been nominated. Any one of the directors. I think some of them did a couple episodes in a row. Any one of those is better than this whole project.
Yeah, well, I didn't really like Obi-Wan, so I'd have to agree with you there. Whoever did episode, I think it's like what, 10, where they finally have the escape from prison. That's the one. The first couple episodes, I wouldn't necessarily say they were amazing or anything, but they were good. But yeah, no, I'm a little surprised, but I'd wonder what they saw, what they really saw to be like, oh yeah, this is great stuff. But no, they have some other good nominations, including the Al Yankovic story, as well as Eric Appel, sorry for that, and then Tom Verica for Inventing Anna, which was a great show. So I don't, yeah, but yeah, and yeah, it is interesting to me how you can think Obi-Wan was better than Andor. I agree with you there.
Toby Haynes did 6 out of the 12 episodes of Andor, and that includes episodes 8, 9, and 10, which are the prison episodes, as well as the ones that you didn't quite care for, the first 3. Although that third episode,
I didn't really.
Good.
Not saying I didn't quite care for. I'm just saying that they're just not as strong as the ones that followed.
Susanna White did 3, and Benjamin Karen did 3 as well. So any one of those would have been better than Chow. Obi-Wan was such a mess, and like I said, it messed with so much of the canon. It did all of these things to get Hayden in a suit and put Obi-Wan and Vader against each other one extra time, which really was completely unnecessary. And it wasn't worth it in the end. In the end, it wasn't worth it. I don't like Titanic. I'm not a romance movie type person in general, and we all know the boat's going to sink, but I would rather watch that 3 times in a row than ever watch Obi-Wan Kenobi again.
Oh, you're going to get your chance seriously. Because it's being re-released.
I'm not watching that crap again, not unless somebody puts a gun to my head. But if they did, then I would pick Titanic over Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, at least I know there's a chance now, but it's funny you mentioned that because it's being re-released in theaters.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Cameron and Disney are like, hey, that last one did really well. Let's release it again.
Hey, Cameron said, and it's time for people to get their butts off of their couches. They're tired of streaming, and he's been very excited about Avatar doing well, which we all are actually.
Yes, we all are.
So he's saying people need to go back to theaters, and we're like, yeah, we've been saying that. We're glad other people are saying it.
Yeah. So sorry about the mix up on the whole nomination versus win thing, but still I stand by that it didn't even out of all of the Star Wars shows, it's least deserving of a nomination for director.
No, Boba Fett is less deserving than I think out of all of them.
For me, it's a personal thing because while Boba Fett is just bad, it doesn't break anything. You know what I'm saying?
It's still stupid.
Yes, it's stupid. It's bad. Don't get me wrong. Boba Fett, except for the Mando season 2.5 episodes.
No, it doesn't count. That's not Boba Fett.
Yeah, that's not Book of Boba Fett. But the rest of the show is awful.
Yeah.
But as a Star Wars fan, it didn't break anything. It's just bad. Kind of like the first. Allegedly, I've not seen any of good seasons, quote unquote. But just like the first few seasons of Rebels or Clone Wars are considered bad. That was, but they didn't break anything, so to speak. That's what Book of Boba Fett is to me. It's bad, but it doesn't break it. Obi-Wan Kenobi, her name is still right there on my screen. Obi-Wan Kenobi broke stuff in my opinion. Like it really did. It really messed with the meaning of Obi-Wan and Vader in episode 4 again. It really screws with the whole Leia help me. They really stretched her hollow message to Kenobi and completely almost ruined things with Luke Sky. Just and for a still stiff and cardboardy Hayden Christensen to have a flashback scene, and then for a relatively unenthusiastic final showdown before the real final showdown in A New Hope between Vader and Kenobi. There were some cool moments during the duel, but between the awful lighting, some of the very, very claustrophobic feels, and I still cannot get over. The bad writing, like Vader with the whole fire situation when Kenobi gets to escape from them, and everyone being like, "Well, bad. Vader let him go because he didn't want to fight a weak weak Obi-Wan Kenobi, but then immediately in the next episodes, Vader is pissed that Kenobi keeps getting away and is continuously chasing after him, not giving him a chance to go train up to be all he can be. So no, I don't buy that. Vader not being able to stop the ship from escape, I don't buy that. All of it is such garbage, right? How Reva gets from one end of the cave to the other end of the cave to capture Leia. Like, no, it was awful editing, awful writing, awful story, awful direction, awful lighting, awful.
Yeah, don't forget about the Inquisitor.
Yeah, that's why I said Reva. Like when she's like on the planet.
I mean the other one, the one who dies, and then you're like, he didn't really die.
And comes back.
It comes back, and it's supposed to be a surprise. It was like
and they screwed up the head and everything, and they're like, well, I mean, makeup, and it's like, what? But what about episode 3? You had that exact same species, and you used prosthetics and casting to get people with more slender faces, and the whole thing, guys, was just trash, and that's
worse,
what
Obi-Wan
happens.
Kenobi or She-Hulk?
Which one hurt me more, or which one is technically
I know which one will
worse?
hurt you more, but
okay,
which one's worse?
Which one is technically worse? She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, okay.
I would say She-Hulk is more.
At least they didn't
technically.
At least they didn't pretend.
Worse.
At least Obi-Wan didn't pretend to not have an ending.
Yeah. About that, I guess that's a good way to segue into our Marvel story. Let's talk about some mutants or potentially lack thereof once again. Speaking with Deadline recently, I'm reading from Cam Clark. Cam wrote this, Cam Clark's article on LRMonline.com. Speaking with Deadline recently, Marvel producer Nate Moore says the X-Men reboot is still in the very early stages, though Moore did name 2 X-Men characters he can't wait to see on screen. Moore also confirmed Harry Styles' return as Star Fox, though he's not saying where that next appearance will come from. Moore said, "There's no secret the X-Men are coming home. If you talk Storm and Bishop," I'm a huge fan of Bishop myself. That was me adding things in. "If you talk Storm and Bishop, they're 2 of the great characters in that franchise. We're early days on that reboot." No shit, guys. We're aware that you're on early days, but everyone's still wondering why and where and when. And I don't expect there to be a date announcement. I wouldn't want, May 3rd, 2026, X-Men, whatever. I don't expect that, but it is still to me curious that we haven't. I mean, the Fox deal was going through for a long time. It's been done for a while. It is still curious to me on how there's just not been a little bit of more of a, hey, X-Men for sure, Phase 6. Like we know it's gotta happen somewhere around Secret Wars. It has to, but some sort of information on why it's taken so long, I think, would probably help investors that are savvy as to the anticipation. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking of it more, not necessarily from a fan point, but more from a business and overall PR point. This is one of the things that people wanted the most, and it's one of those. I mean, we already got a Fantastic Four announcement, at least a little bit of information on that. I can't remember if it was a writer or director that we know is attached to it as well. And we don't need necessarily that much, but I think from a business point, this is a big sticking point. I don't know. What do you think? And do you like Bishop or Storm?
I don't really care for either. No, I as far as X-Men, my favorite X-Men has always been Gambit.
Yes,
I've always enjoyed. I think because somewhere down the line, one of the episodes in my childhood that sticks out from X-Men was the animated series was the one the Juggernaut versus Colossus. So ever since then, Juggernaut has always been one of my favorite I guess villains or X-Men or whatever you want to call it. Well, to me, they're all X-Men, regardless if you're part of the Brotherhood or not, or villains or. And so I those are a couple of them that I really, really like. Nightcrawler is another one that sticks out. Rogue, I always thought she was just really super cool. I've always
Could
thought,
be if not played by Anna Paquin.
well,
Sorry,
I'm
guys.
not talking about that. I'm
I
talking
know,
about, you know, because and I've always found Magneto to be a super interesting character.
Yeah.
Even more than Professor X, actually. Just because a lot of times you can almost empathize with him as to why he's doing what he's doing. And
humans suck.
yeah, humans do suck. So with that said, there's nothing wrong with Bishop or with Storm. Storm's has some pretty cool powers, but I've always think she's been nerfed a little bit in everything. And so yeah, the character I can't stand, Cyclops. I don't know why.
He's designed for you not to like.
You know, he's like, so he comes off sometimes as like Barry Allen. He's always really whiny, and he thinks he's like, I don't know. I don't like.
He's God's gift to mutants, man.
He's in. I won't talk too much bad about Cyclops, but anyway.
Scott.
Yeah, Scott. Damn, I can't Summers. Thank you.
Yep.
Anywho,
that's Cable's daddy, buddy. Come on now.
That whole thing's weird too. But I get it. It's really cool. And honestly, as far as complexity goes in storytelling, X-Men does it the best. I think. Yeah. Because you got like future stuff, you got past stuff, present and everything.
It's Kingdom Hearts level convoluted, man.
But it's good. It's good stuff.
Okay, Cable is whose kid?
Why
does he look so much older? Time travel genius.
Yes. Oh, okay.
I like the idea of finally tapping into some of those.
Yeah, but to your point, what I was trying to get to, unfortunately, but I started rambling. No, it's my fault for rambling. We ain't getting X-Men for a while, man.
No,
and as
26,
as the clock ticks and we get closer and closer to phase 6. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to think we're not getting X-Men until after Secret Wars, which
I don't know how you do Secret Wars without them.
They did Civil War without him.
Civil War didn't need the mutants.
Civil War does need the mutants. Civil War
for the incident that kicks it off in the comics. I get that, but they just amalgamated the mess that the other heroes had committed.
It was a great movie. It was a stupid title because that wasn't Civil War. The movie was fine. There was nothing wrong with the movie. Like, I'm not saying that that it was a bad movie. I'm saying that the idea of titling it Civil War, when in fact you were missing so many components to the actual event that happened. That would be like
saying that Infinity War and Endgame aren't good enough to carry the Infinity title in there because Adam Warlock wasn't in it and Nebula wasn't the bad guy. Like, nah, man, it's still. I get it.
No. There was
Cannonball. Was it Cannonball or Speedball that messed up?
There was really no consequence to the two fighting. They made up very quickly, and it was like nothing happened.
Dude, the whole group of Avengers, it
was one small
Secret
group of
Avengers had to go off and not even partake anymore.
So because the thing is, at this point right now, Secret Wars may not even have a Doom.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
Yeah,
that's a real scary thought.
It's so hopefully we're wrong. Hopefully we're
Kang 2.0.
Hopefully we're absolutely wrong. And they fix it. Or I don't know if this makes it worse or better. What if it's Fox X-Men that show up?
I keep telling you, man, that's what it's going to be. It's going to. I'm telling you, you're gonna end up with a Jackman Wolverine.
Yeah.
Maybe even Deadpool, a Diane Keane is I think her name that played X-23.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna see Famke Janssen, whatever her name is, that played the first Jean Grey. You're gonna get some of the cats from First Class, maybe Fassbender or McAvoy. Like that's what they're doing. They're this whole Secret Wars thing, not just based on rumors, but just based on logic. What we're seeing, this obsession with the nostalgia aspects. They're gonna do an amalgamation of the 1984 mixing with the 2015 2016 Secret Wars, where the Ultimate Universe and the 616 universes are merging together. The idea of incursions, where certain aspects of other universes start kind of coming in on the other one. We saw elements of that in Doc Strange Multiverse of Madness, but they haven't played with that in their 616. You know, they really haven't. It's touched on it in that movie, and then it's gone. And it's touched on it in a different universe. They're like, this is the incursion universe where universes collapsed and stuff. And it's like, yeah, we get it. That's potentially gonna happen. They're gonna have one battle world instead of this battle world filled with different lands like they had in the 1516 comics. They're gonna have the Beyonder, but they're not gonna. It's not gonna be just that. And God, man, I wonder, guys, what happened to hashtag give the rights back to Marvel? It was never give the rights back to Marvel and keep the same actors and stories in canon. It was always give the movies to Marvel and let them reboot things. And now you guys are just like, nah, give me the garbage from my childhood.
What did you say? Give the movie rights back to Marvel?
Yeah. What?
Okay, so that's the problem. There's the key phrase. Problem is when we were begging for that, Disney Plus didn't exist.
Yeah.
and so this is a conversation I had last night with some friends on a podcast that we did. Disney Plus really watered down and ruined a lot of what the MCU is.
I believe so. And we will say, full disclosure, I know I was super excited at the idea of 3 or 4 Marvel shows a year with 3 or 4 movies. Thought it was a great idea. Couldn't wait.
I know, I'm 100% with you, because we got
regret it.
We got WandaVision right at kind of, the middle of COVID. And so we were so excited to have, some of our heroes back, and that was consequences from the previous regime, from Infinity Saga. Then we get Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which were consequences from the previous events. And then finally Loki gives us that little bright spot of we're going forward. Look, here's Jonathan Majors and here's what we're doing, and we're so excited. And then absolutely nothing. Then we get things. I'm not saying Moon Knight's bad. I'm just saying it has nothing to do really with the multiverse with us. Yeah. And then
roughly in there.
Yeah. A Hawkeye, which made a complete joke of a Kingpin and watered down Yelena. Kate Bishop was a bright spot in it. Yeah. Yes. But who cares? Miss Marvel, which just happened. I'm just saying it just happened. And then
that's a good way to put it.
and then the She-Hulk, so you tell me. And then we have specials here and there. So when we did the 2 specials, like the holiday special for Guardians, and we did the Werewolf by Night, like those are like things like off on their own. And it's cool.
Relatively fine.
What if also happened, and it was like, yeah, cool. These things that were kind of away from it all, we were able to enjoy it because we knew that it was. But the thing is, Kevin Feige keeps going up on these damn stages, whether it's at D23 or San Diego, and telling us it matters.
The effects of this movie will be felt across the MCU.
And it's like you're a damn liar, man, because you let Taika Waititi off the leash, and you gave us, and so. But Manny,
the 10 rings and the bracelets from Miss Marvel will be connected to Kang. Isn't that good enough?
Well, that's a rumor. We don't even know that. What I'm trying to say is, Marvel conditioned us to feel a certain way about films. I mean, we had events during Infinity Saga that led up to Avengers, and it gave us that first awesome moment. That moment when the camera panned and we saw all of the Avengers, and it was like, oh, this is really cool. And then finally at the end of all of that, then we get that awesome comic book come to life fight that, you know, we never thought we'd see. We got it.
Avengers Assemble.
Yeah,
finally set
beautiful.
on screen. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Charge, like just awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So fans expected that same level of care and precision with now the multiverse, but
And connectedness,
with additions and TV shows that mattered. And instead, what we get is WandaVision, that has a redeeming story, only to be unredeemed immediately in Multiverse of Madness. And we get a Thor: Love and Thunder, who in the first scene takes Thor all the way back to the first Thor. So what really matters? Why do we care? So my point is, they can't even get what they currently have right. As we sit right now at the beginning of Phase 5, what makes us think that the X-Men is actually going to be any better?
I hear you, man. That's a big fear of mine, and that's why I think they're really looking at how much old stuff they can keep in.
Yeah, because
I don't like that.
Currently that's the only thing they can do. They're so busy with the why are you doing Echo? why is Ironheart a thing? I
mean, there are things in the comics, but they're not necessarily doing well in the comics. The comics themselves aren't doing so hot. I don't get the business aspect of it. That's for sure.
Like Agatha Hart had one good song in the series, and she gets her own, and she gets in WandaVision, she gets her own series.
Yeah.
It really feels like my thing is, I was like, I don't think this is all on Kevin Feige. I think Disney.
Yeah.
The overload is like,
give us stuff, give us content on Disney Plus. We demand content.
So now they're giving us now they're giving us all this mediocre stuff. And I'm sorry, like, if you feel strongly about some of these shows, which is great. You like a show, fine. But overall, it's nowhere currently. It's nowhere near the level of precision that was Infinity Saga, and it is all because streaming. I'm honestly, that's what I'm doing. Blaming it on streaming because of so much pressure that they have to put all these stuff out. What are they doing? Their VFX artists are completely overwhelmed by the amount of work they have to do. They're bringing in writers who they're like, yeah, sure, you can do a She-Hulk show. Even though you can't
write courtroom stuff,
that's what we advertised it as. And then you have gimmicks. You have gimmicks as to how to keep us watching. Okay, so Wakanda Forever is an exception because it is a follow-up to a really good movie, and there's a lot of weight to it. But what did you do in it? We're just gonna say the word mutant one time, and people will get all excited. They did that in Miss Marvel, and they did a similar thing. They did a similar, really, really cheap thing in She-Hulk, where they're like, when are the X-Men coming? And that alone enough is for people to be like, oh my god, X-Men are coming. It's like Deadpool's coming. That's your X-Men.
Yeah, Deadpool will be here, but he'd be the first X-Men thing going on most likely. So yeah, sorry I went on that little rant, but point being is, we're not getting X-Men anytime soon, and if we do, at the current state that Marvel Studios is in, it's going to be watered down. Yeah, and you're not wrong. There's an article on the Hollywood Reporter today about a board shakeup. Now there's people that have come on their what's the word, term limit for serving on Disney's board of directors. You're gonna see a longtime Iger ally step down. Susan Arnold, she's been the chair. She's stepping down. Nike's Mark Parker's going to be taking that position. But not only that, one of the top investors and someone that's trying to be sat on the board, Nelson Peltz, has come out and wants to know and get more information on what he called self-inflicted wounds on Disney, efficiencies and seeking more efficiencies and additional profits after an expressed concern that Disney management's direct-to-consumer streaming push with Disney Plus failed to effectively communicate the financial. Hear me out one more time, ladies and gentlemen, because god dang it, if I haven't been talking about this for years. The financial rationale behind the strategic pivot. Streaming as you guys want it, as I would love to have it if it worked, doesn't work. It's as impossible as real communism and real anarchy. Like it does not math. It doesn't scale. It does not work the way that we think it should or would. The best way to do streaming is back catalog stuff, limited original stuff, cheap original limited stuff. That's it. And it's not everyone has their own. It's one or two exist and everyone kind of leases out to those. That's the way streaming can be successful. But instead, what you guys have done by being so insistent on it is, one, hurt theaters dramatically, two, hurt movies in general, because you no longer buy Blu-rays, DVDs, or even buy digital copies of them. And then the other thing that's happened is driving streaming services to become more like cable and satellite TV. I saw the other day Nick Dahl, one of our Breaking Geek Radio co-hosts, complained about Hulu having ads before a movie or during a movie on the ad-supported Hulu, because other services like Paramount Plus don't do like mid-roll ads during movies, and they're like, well, if I have to watch these ads, I don't want it. And then someone else chimes in and with a Pirates of the Caribbean gif, and it's like, guys, how do you expect them to make you content if you're not freaking willing to pay for it or even watch an ad so that Tide and Downy and Nestle can pay for it? I mean, holy shit, how freaking entitled are you that your entertainment should just come at the cost of, I'm dropping an F-bomb, fucking pennies? Seriously, it doesn't math, guys. It's not that hard. And again, one more time, you could take you could take 50, 60, 70% of everyone with the word vice, executive, or chief in their title, and you still couldn't pay for Marvel's budgets alone, let alone keeping in Pixar, Disney Animation, and Lucasfilm, and ESPN, and ABC. It
doesn't work. Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah,
there's not money in it.
So the consequences is that the content is going to suffer.
Content's going to suffer.
Which is why, like, I you know, and it's not just me being like a WB apologist or anything, but them having to step back and really make the big boy decisions and kind of start over.
Can respect it.
You can, and it's gonna make for better content in the future, and then
less, but better.
No, but that's something also that's been said.
Yeah.
AMC president recently in an interview said,
less.
We made too much stuff, and it's like we got to make less. And I mean, you can. Honestly, I think one of the better models, and I could be completely wrong. Whatever. I'm just a dude who has a platform, so deal with it. Paramount currently has a really good, really solid platform, I think, because they're not willing to make changes on the fly, and they're really set. They got 40 something seasons of Survivor. They have all of Star Trek, which
they're really trying to push on a lot of the back catalog and cost-effective new stuff.
Yeah, they have Yellowstone. They have but the back catalog of all that is really kind of the driving force, and they're able to make some of these other shows, which are maybe not as expensive, to really keep going, and then they dual release their films. And if they feel like at the last minute they have a hit, Smile is that example, they're gonna not stream it. They're gonna pull it and go straight to theaters.
Theater only.
Theater only. And what happened? That movie is one of the top 4 movies of last year.
Yeah.
But Disney, nope. Hocus Pocus 2, despite the fact that it has a cult following and it's a pop culture icon of the 90s
And some star power.
Straight to streaming.
Yep. Because we need stuff to get subscribers who can easily leave. I'm telling you all.
Where did we make the money off of that?
Yeah.
When you could have had I'm not saying it was gonna break box office numbers.
Yeah, no.
But it was gonna make decent numbers. It was
gonna make money. Yeah. Halloween movie, Halloween time, cult following, star power. I mean, yeah, it was gonna make some money.
Yeah. So it's like what are we doing? Like what? The problem is that they're so keen on making the pressure of having Disney Plus work that they're shooting themselves in the foot.
I agree. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. We're going to end up. It's going to be just like cable TV. They already do incentives for long-term subscriptions. If you buy a year, it's like buying 10 months and getting one, or it's like buying, getting 1.5 months free for the year if you pay up front for some of these things. Some maybe even more. It might be as much as saving two months if you pay for it. That's a cable subscription, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you understand that, right? But when you pay for a year up front, that's like when you start doing your cable contract, where you say, hey, I will pay you X amount of money every month. Only they've tricked you into doing it this time. Instead of, hey, you can't have service without it, you'll save a little bit of money. Well, that's going to become the only way you get it, is to give them a bigger chunk of money up front. That'll be the only way to avoid ads. I can see a future very easily where every tier, unless you buy the ad-free one, which will be a whole year subscription cost, so you can't just leave whenever you want. That's the problem right now. People can just leave and come back, leave and come back. That doesn't make a whole lot of money. You think that keeping products in the public eye via weekly release is just a press thing? No, it's also a money thing, because if they can make things that are going to be out for at least 6 to 8 weeks go between 2 months, they get 2 months of subscriptions from the people that only come back for their Stranger Things or their Mandalorian. But also it does help keep it in the public mind for a bit longer than binge watching. You're going to see these contracts, these things. You're going to see ads for everything. It won't be just Disney's in-house ads. Tide and Downy and Nestle and freaking NASCAR and Chevy. You're going to see the 2025 Chevy Equinox now with AI assisted whatever the frack. You're going to see stuff like that on your streaming services, because they got to pay for stuff somehow, some way. Even with all the back catalog only stuff. Servers cost money, maintenance, bandwidth, storage, replacement parts. I mean, it's all way more complicated, you guys think, than it is when you watch digital content off of YouTube on your computer. It is so vastly different.
Yeah.
Content costs money to make. You got to be willing to pay for it with either your time via ads or your money via, money.
Yeah. So in other words, trust us when we technically say you don't want X-Men right now.
That's true.
You really don't. You
that
want?
Is true.
Yeah. It's just not. It's a horrible time for it.
I think as a business, I think they need to say something than early development. But
they need to slow.
As a
they need to slow
consumer,
down.
as a consumer, I'm definitely with you on the whole. I don't necessarily want the team that's made decisions recently making these same decisions. Oh well. It wouldn't be the Daily COG if we didn't get in a good rant. Let's just be happy no one mentioned Sony today. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any fans left. Ready to wrap it up, Manny?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, guys. Check out lrmonline.com every day for all sorts of entertainment news, needs, opinions, written reviews, celebrity interviews that go up on the LRM Online YouTube channel as well. All there. Check it out. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, be sure to check out some of the other great shows like Breaking Geek Radio, AVR, The Cantina, Marvel Multiverse Mayhem. All of those great podcasts covering everything in entertainment are also available in video format on our YouTube channel, along with AVR squared anime reactions and genre shot trailer reactions. So please do hit the red subscribe button, or if you've got some dark theme on, it might be a white subscribe button. Anyways, social media information like at the Genreverse on Twitter, our Discord. Manny and I have Twitter and information on screen and in the description boxes below as well. So yeah, check it all out. Thanks guys for being here. Anything else, Manny?
No, not today. We're good.
Bye guys.